Hey there. Today, we're going to be ripping apart the narrative that MSNBC is trying to spin that Donald Trump is unhinged. And they released this video titled, "An Old Fat Man Wandering Around on a Roof. Is Donald Trump Losing His Cool Factor with Men?" These guys are hilarious with their attempts to make a successful president look bad, and we're going to look at their many attempts at making a disastrous president look good.
The president held an impromptu press conference from a highly unusual location.
Sir, why are you on the roof?
That's nice. That's not a question you hear asked of a world leader that often. It's right up there with, "Your Majesty, where are your pants?"
Everyone was like, "Don't do it, sir. Your approval rating isn't that bad. We got
Well, I don't know. Hi, everybody. It's 5 o'clock in the East. Late Night House had a field day with something that was happening almost exactly 24 hours ago.
Is it just me, or was that laugh totally made up? You can tell when someone is pretending to laugh because it doesn't reach their eyes. And that's the thing about these leftist media outlets and their talking heads. You can see the dead eye syndrome circulating when you watch them, and you can see that they know that they're lying, but they'll open up their mouths and say it anyway. MSNBC, CNN, and other left-wing media outlets for years ran cover for the White House. When many of us, I lived in Africa throughout the Biden administration period, or at least halfway for about 2 years of the Biden administration. And all the way from Africa, I saw the disastrous showing that Joe Biden was making on the world stage. The Afghanistan withdrawal debacle. It was more than a debacle. It was a catastrophe. We saw him falling up the stairs, and we saw mainstream media run interference and say how healthy he was, how sharp he was.
President Biden's doctor says his latest routine physical shows the president is healthy and vigorous, fit enough to perform his presidential duties.
Biden underwent tests at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, where presidents typically go. Doctors did find a small lesion on his chest. That has been removed for a biopsy. CNN senior medical correspondent Elizabeth Cohen joins us now. Elizabeth, did we learn anything else from the president's doctors here?
Jim, yes, we did learn a few more things. Let's take a look at what we were told by the White House. The president's physician says that the president experiences a stiff gait. In the past, they said that was at least in part due to some arthritis that he has. Also, that he clears his throat often because of reflux. That is not an unusual thing. And we've known this for a while, he is being treated for AFib, which is an irregular heartbeat. His physician also noted that they did a detailed sort of screening and they didn't neurological screening, and that they didn't find anything that would be consistent with anything like a stroke or MS or Parkinson's. They also did a similar kind of screening in 2021.
If we didn't have all this evidence on how outlets like MSNBC and CNN lied to the American people, collaborating with the Biden White House press secretary, we would wonder at how a president like Joe Biden could have been allowed to stay in office with all of the health problems he had, including a neurological problem. And they closed this report by saying there's nothing to see here. He's totally fine. We screened him for everything. He is okay. This, mind you, was 2023. And long before this so-called screening, we saw Biden falling up the stairs several times. We saw him staring out into nowhere, and we were wondering what's going on with the most powerful man on the planet. There's more. MSNBC in 2024, just before the presidential debate with Donald Trump, where he was totally destroyed, is here running interference, predictably, yet again.
How can you assure the American people that you won't have another night like the one you did in Atlanta?
Look at my career. I've not had many of those nights. It was a terrible night, and I really regret it happened. But the fact of the matter is, how can you assure you're going to be on faith that can intervene on your way to go to, work tomorrow? Age wasn't, the idea I'm too old. Created over 15 million jobs, 21 million insured for the ACA, beat Big Pharma, relieved student debts for 5 million people, first black woman in the court. So I think I had a significant run, and that's how I'd measure me. Measure me what I've done. And by the way, in terms of my neurological capacity, I had a physical, a neurological physical as well in February. It's released. I released all my records, all of them. And I have a neurological test every single day. Try sitting behind this desk and making these decisions. You know it. Both of you know it. They know it. I'm not bad at what I do. And now, it doesn't mean I never make a mistake. I do. But I'm making those decisions.
Look at them trying really hard to hide their deep concern for the person who's speaking to them over the phone. And yet, they would pick on Donald Trump taking a stroll on the White House roof with Secret Service, and then claim that that is not cool, or that is Donald Trump attempting to end himself because his approval ratings are low, which isn't true. These people are just impossible. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's just a job to them. They think that as long as they continue to say bad things about conservative values and a president that actually does what he says he will do, like protecting the country, restoring the economy, putting the American people first. Guys, I am not American. I'm not. So the success of the United States locally doesn't affect me directly in any way, shape, or form. However, I do know that the influence that the United States exerts in culture, in the economy, will eventually reach me and my children. And that deeply concerns me when a media apparatus continues to support insanity, calling it political correctness. Now, here's the Morning Joe after it came out. Well, saying that it came out is just conflating the entire situation. It was already out. We saw Biden look like he crapped his pants in public. Look, we all saw this happening. So saying that it came out is pretending like we're speaking to children. We all knew that he had problems with his health. And MSNBC is trying to make it look like Trump has problems. The man goes out golfing. I played golf once. That sport is harrowing. You do a lot of walking. So for him at 79 to play golf, it is a big deal. Here's the Morning Joe. After its official knowledge, let me put it that way, that Joe Biden's health situation was covered up. And then watch how they try to spin it to say, oh, let's demand health screenings for sitting presidents because Donald Trump is in office. And they're trying to push the narrative that he's unfit to be president.
Congress could do something, could pass a law requiring, again, medical records. It can even be after the Trump administration ends. So they don't know whether it's about a Republican or a Democrat, but we get medical records and we get, even an independent medical evaluation because, we've talked about, Donald Trump's physicians saying, oh, he could live to be 200. Oh, he's Superman. All the crazy stuff that Ronnie Jackson had said about him. And then you look at Joe Biden and you find out that he hadn't had a PSA test, supposedly since 2019. They wouldn't take a test. They wouldn't take other tests that they were afraid weren't going to turn out well for his cognitive reasoning. It seems to me, I mean, how do we get to a point that we can have an independent medical exam for whomever is the next president, the presidents beyond? Because for people like you that have to report on presidents, you're just sort of whistling in the dark.
Give us a break. If you, who covers presidents, couldn't tell that there's something off about this president, you should be fired. Of course, he wouldn't be fired because they're all complicit. If you spent 2 minutes talking to someone who had issues with their cognitive faculties, you would recognize that there's something wrong here. There's something very wrong. MSNBC knew it. CNN knew it. ABC knew it. They all knew it. They were all part of the grift. They covered it up. They told all of us that we were feeding on right-wing conspiracy theories. And then when it all comes out, they have this sullen, oh, we were lied to. We didn't know. What are you, 5? Any adult with 2 eyes and a brain could have deciphered the fact that there was a problem with the United States president. Anyway, that's all for today, folks. Let me know what you think in the comment section about this video. Tell me what you think about their attempts to smear President Trump and make him look like he is cognitively in decline and that his health is to be called into question. Look, he went for a test, came out with the results, let the world know what the results were, and then they're jumping on it to say, oh, we need to have a more independent test on presidents. That is insane for them to even be having this conversation. They should spend the entirety of this run saying to the world, we're sorry that we lied to you. But they won't. And that's why they've lost all credibility. Leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified when fresh content is published by me, because it helps out a whole lot.